What's up, gardeners? Devin is back here to plant one of my favorite plants, one of my all-time favorite shrubs, and that is a hydrangea. Every year it seems like there's new awesome hydrangeas that are released into the marketplace, and one of my absolute favorite over the last couple years is this awesome endless summer crush hydrangea. They really bloom for a very long time. This is a Hydrangea macrophylla, also known as a bigleaf hydrangea because they sport quite large leaves. So I wanted to create a video showing exactly how to get these in the ground, where to site them, where to put them in the garden, and some of the care needed to get the most out of your plants year after year after year, because these are a pretty long-lived perennial. So we want to do it right the first time around and enjoy these beautiful blooms every single summer for decades to come.
Hi, I'm Ronnie, and if you like gorgeous plants like my uncle Devin and I, it would be really cool if you would subscribe, like, and share this video.
So, first of all, the first thing we need to think of is where we are planting them. So I'm here in a garden in Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania. My particular zone is zone 6B, which basically refers to, how cold it gets in the winter and how warm it gets in the summertime. So with the bigleaf hydrangeas, this is a hydrangea that really doesn't need to get a ton of sunlight. It doesn't need to be like our limelight hydrangeas that like to be grown in that full baking hot sun. This is more of a hydrangea in my particular zone that likes the morning sunlight and then the afternoon shade. Now, if you live in a colder region where your summers are shorter, you can give them even more sunlight. So let's say you lived up in Boston, maybe give them an area of the garden that gets full sunlight. But if you live further south, maybe North Carolina, they're gonna want even more shade. So you kind of have to think about where you want to plant them. And for me, I'm going to be planting them underneath this beautiful river birch tree here in my front yard. I thought that this would be a wonderful companion. Right now it's a really sunny location because there's no foliage on the trees yet, but over the summertime, once the tree has its foliage, this is going to be a beautiful beacon of color all summer long. So the first thing to think about is the location. And along that, this is also a plant that likes to stay rather moist. So if you have it in too much sun, you'll actually probably find yourself having to water it more and more than you would probably like. So when I moved into this house, there were other bigleaf hydrangeas in areas that got really hot, intense sunlight, and they would wilt pretty much every single day, and it was the wrong location. So here under this tree, it's kind of a location where the water kind of filters through. So when I get those summer rains, this is gonna get like natural irrigation, which is great. And if it needs any supplemental irrigation during the summertime, then I will do that as well. So now that we kind of have an idea of where we want to plant them, how do we go about it? What is the best method? So I have actually two different plants. I have this larger one and then I have a smaller one. And this smaller one has been kind of outside. It doesn't have any foliage yet. And then I have this larger one which has some flowers, it has some foliage, and realistically, this is a perennial. It's going to grow for a long time. It doesn't matter if it has foliage or flowers on the plant when you buy it, when you receive it, when you're planting it. What really matters are what's underneath the hood, as my dad likes to say. So it's the root system that is really important. So as long as it has good roots, they will create foliage, and by the third season, this plant is going to be the same size as this plant, and they'll both be that size for the foreseeable future. The one good thing about having flowers on plants, the reason I like to see flowers at the beginning is because I like to see exactly what the color looks like so that I have a really good visualization what the flowers will look like when they're in bloom. But now that I have it here at home and I'm ready to plant it, the first thing I like to do is I cut the flowers off. Gardening is a practice of investing for the future. We're planting this for future summers, and flowers are the most energetic, energy using part of the plant. So by eliminating the flowers at the beginning, what I'm doing is I'm allowing my plant to really have a better chance of acclimating to the new conditions easier. So if it has flowers on it, it's gonna take a little bit longer to really kind of settle itself into the position. So first thing I always do is I cut the flowers off of plants as I'm going to be planting them. And just plant them and just put them by the side. You can even go and trim a little bit more foliage off if you'd like to do that as well, but that's not totally necessary. As we're planting them, we want our plants to be focused on creating roots initially, not producing flowers. We're not planting these for flowers this summer. And just another reason why I always remove flowers at the beginning, okay? So now the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna pop it out of the pot. Beautiful. You see those gorgeous roots all the way around, very beautiful. It's exactly what you want to see. Now when we see roots like this, if we dig a hole and just plop it in there in this shape, you can imagine it's kind of like wearing a sweater as it goes into the ground, and then maybe it's just going to stay in that sweater for the foreseeable future. We don't want that. We want the roots to spread out. So what we're going to do, I'll take my little shears and I'm just going to kind of massage them. There's really no scientific way of doing it, but we just kind of break them up. This may look harsh, but this is exactly what the plant wants and loves. It's like giving your plant a little back scratch, sort of. You can do it on the top as well. We just kind of try to spread it out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now time to dig a hole. Now in this area, this is a flower bed that I had that I put in, and I know that underneath the soil is really nice. It's a really nice kind of loamy garden soil. If you have super sandy soil or super clay soil, or you know, just a soil that doesn't have very good drainage, you're going to want to amend it with garden soil or potting mix even. But because I have pretty good soil, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to dig a hole and get it planted. Let's come in close. Okay, you can see this is a sign of a great soil. It's nice and dark, which means it's full of nutrition. It's full of that organic matter that we want. And if you can see, I got about 4 or 5 worms growing around in here. Worms are a gardener's best friend. Worms, what they do, they create kind of air pockets, which roots need air in order to really do well. If the soil is too heavy and intense and there's no air, then your plant is going to suffocate. So having worms in your soil is awesome. Okay, so now you can see I have a nice, deep, wide hole that my hydrangea is going to easily fit in. Now it's really important, we want to get the height of basically this area right where the plant kind of meets the soil. We call that the crown, and we want to make sure that this crown is sitting just at the top of the soil. If it's too deep, then it could, you know, get rotten, but if it's too high and exposed, then your hydrangea could dry out. So we really want to, when we're planting it, make sure it's at that right height. So let's see, that's going to be too deep. So I'm going to put a little bit more back in and see how that looks. That looks pretty good. What do you think? Yeah? Okay. So now that I have it positioned in here, I'm just going to do one more little rustling of the roots. And now what we're going to do is we're backfill it. Basically, just put that soil that we dug out back in. Now, if you were working with bad soil, maybe you would backfill it with bagged potting mix, bagged soil. But because mine's good, okay, now we water it in. Make sure you water all the way around your plant so that all of those roots get nice and moistened. And now the last step is I love to put a layer of mulch around the base of my plant. I'll leave about an inch or so from the main stem where the mulch doesn't touch, but I will go all the way around the edge of the foliage line. And what that's going to do right now, it's going to act to help keep moisture locked into the soil for one, as opposed to evaporating. It's also going to keep it warm if we get a cool night, and it's also going to keep it cool if the day gets really quite hot. So adding a nice layer of mulch is a really great idea. All right, it was as easy as that. Now I'm going to be enjoying beautiful blooms on my hydrangea summer after summer for months and months. And I can't wait for that color. Anyways, I will catch you later. Ciao.